Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode, episode 2 of Tower of God. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, obviously picking up in the aftermath of the premiere of the first episode, once again, I don't remember, the flashbacks, whether they were what they are in the when they're presented. I can't remember. I don't think not everything was told at once, and I think that's something we're going to get over the course of the season is flashbacks of some of his moments with Rachel and just how they reflect kind of his current circumstances. I feel like I don't remember that, but maybe that's something they're just adding context wise for the show, but I don't remember if that was. Once again, you're going to have to fill me in. Treat me like an idiot because I don't remember a lot of this stuff. So, but I feel like I don't remember that being a thing. But once again, a lot of this seems panel for panel in many different regards. But I'm trying to remember. Some of that feels like it, because obviously it's an adaptation, so they're going to add some stuff. I just don't remember. That's the problem with it not being so fresh in my mind. I want to say the stuff with Rachel and Baum at the beginning was added, just giving you more content. I feel like that's something they will do throughout the test and everything. But regardless, I completely forgot about Rock's whole thing of referring to everybody as turtles. In particular, Baum. I mean, he refers to everyone as a turtle, but Baum and Kun, he never, to my knowledge, at least from where I was in the series, I don't think he ever referred to them by their names. I think he always referred to Baum as the black turtle and Kun as, the blue turtle, so... very unlikely allies, like I brought up last time, Rock is only interested in finding powerful people. He doesn't really look at Baum as powerful. He just looks at the power, the weapon. He's like, oh, this weapon you have is super powerful. And so Kun initially kind of has no interest. He's like, I'm going to go off on my own. But he's taking an interest in Baum because he recognizes the weapon he has. He's like, damn it, me and my damn curiosity. All right, let me go check in on him. And so... because Kun's whole point was right, he says it later on, I'm not following the rules of this game. The fact that he's kind of a bit of a rule breaker, which is interesting pairing for him to be with Baum, whose very nature of being in the tower as an irregular makes him a rule breaker. So, but Kun is looking for allies. He was hoping to find strong allies to climb the tower with. Rock's just more so interested in fighting, which I love the shift to animation style when he slams down and they turn into chibis and they're floating in the air for a little bit. I love that. But how Rock is just and I love that Rock is this tough warrior, but he's also an idiot. I love it that he's this lovable idiot. And you also have Baum being too sweet and too pure for the world. And so it's interesting to have kind of a strong idiot and a kind-hearted, powerful person. But then you also have Kun, who is the intellectual of the group. He's really smart. He knows what's what. He can be a manipulator, and you can tell that from the beginning. That it's just kind of I'm getting what I want in the end. Because he found out, he recognizes that weapon. It's that's a weapon belonging to one of the princesses. So for you to have that, how'd you get it? He's like, well, wait, Baum's like, yeah, she let me borrow. It's like, wait, she what? Because he didn't want to say too much because he remembered, right, what he done said. It's right, the king will execute you for not having the weapon and stuff like that. Or I don't know if he was referring to her or was he referring to, Baum, he'd get executed for having the weapon. But once again, that just shows you the kindness of who Baum is, that he opens up to Kun, even Kun being like, oh, you've never killed anyone before, right? Because we learn from the intro he has with Rachel about, learning what's conflict, and for her it's if someone was to do something or say something mean to me, what would you do? Would you fight them? And Baum's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, and well, that's what it means. But even now it's Baum doesn't want to fight anybody, but if it means, but now it's right, he was kind of thankful for Kun because it's right, I don't have to kill anyone because the thing he was about to attack is right, they're pretty mild, docile creatures, so. But despite everything, they're just kind of hiding out, beating out the clock while Rock is trying to track them down. And even, still being no, I'm going to fight you. And then once again, he is kind of a big baby in certain regards, which is funny to say that he's a big baby. Obviously, if you've never read the book, that means nothing to you, but it's ironic to call him a baby. I'll just leave it at that until the time comes. But for him, I have a tantrum because he doesn't get his way. He wants to fight Baum, but Baum just throws out his weapon because initially it comes into a thing of right, okay, there's only 200 people left. Now what I'm going to need you to do is after 5 minutes, whatever 3 people are touching are going to be a team. Because prior to this, like, we also had, like, Hots and Anak fighting, which is pretty dope. We also get to see, like, what her weapon's capable of doing. If I remember correctly, she's not even able to draw out the full power of her sword either. I forgot what those weapons are. I want to say there's 7 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Because 7's like the go-to number of anything. Kind of like 7 samurais, 7 princesses of heart type of thing. If I remember, I could be mistaken, but I believe like Black March as well as a Nox weapon, I believe there's 7 of those special swords like that. And once again, they have that specific branding. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I think that's just the general logo of this series, because I think that might be just Jihad's, the King Jihad's emblem, like the 3 eyes that's on the Black March and most likely on the Nox blade. I don't, because I was about to say, like, is that like SIU's, the creator of the series? If I remember correctly, his name's like, I think it's Slave in Utero is the acronym for that. It's been a while, but I don't think, I'm trying to remember if that's his logo or that just, I think that's just the natural, like, logo of the series, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you'll see that a lot, like, at the beginning of, like, chapters and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. But I love how they basically have to trick Rock into being their opponent, because about Bomb not fighting, he's like, yeah, and your boy, well, let me finish my thought. Like, the fact is he didn't want to fight, and Rock's just like, fight, pick up your weapon now, once again having a tantrum. And Kun figures out what Bomb's doing. He's like, right, making him run out the clock. At the same time, you had Hot, Anak introducing themselves, and then Shibisu being there. And I love it. Like, straight out of the book, is Shibisu is the one that has, like, those very, like, animated faces that they really lean into this episode. It's so good. I was like, yeah, Shibisu! Oh, you... Because he seems like such a coward, but Shibisu is super dope. I love him. And he's just like, I'm Shi... And they walk away. It's like, yeah, let's find an ally. He's like, I'm Shibitsu! I'm Shibitsu! It's like, always kind of getting left behind. You're kind of the runt of your team, and I love it. You get no love. You get no respect. He's kind of like Evan, because Evan constantly, you know, even he calls Yuri out for it. It's like, you're a bully, because she does nothing but making fun of his height and stuff like that. She's like, hurry up and take us to Bomb so I can find him and get back Black March. But ultimately, they were able to, as the clock was counting down, they both jumped on Rock and were able to become a team. So, but I love the whole, you know, it's like, right, moving on to the next test and everything. Even, you know, Kun trying to flip things around, be like, hey, Rock, you want Bomb to be stronger, right? Like, let him get stronger. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Let him get stronger. Also, I didn't even remember them doing that, but I'm sure that had to be out of the book, covering up that weapon, because he'd draw a lot of attention if people saw the Black March, especially a Nock. It definitely would, you know, it would definitely catch her attention. It definitely does later on to my recollection. But, I love Shibutsu's there being like, oh man, look at all this. And then like a Nock and Hots are not looking at each other, and he's just kind of like, he's like, oh, don't ignore me. It's just like, oh, he's always just, like I said, he's the runt of his team, and I love it. But then like I always say his name wrong, because like when I first saw it, I always said like Leroy. It's something like that, but it, like obviously they're pronouncing it a little different. It's like Leroy. It's something like that, but I'm just gonna go. Let's go with Leroy. I love. Like, Shinsu gets brought up, he says water, like, the way he was describing it makes it sound like it's always water. I'm like, has it always been water? Like, I thought, like, maybe he's talking specifically about what he was manifesting as, like, Shinsu, as, like, he made it a wall of water, but I was like, but the way he was describing it made it seem like it's always water, and it was like, oh, is that a translation thing? Because I could have sworn it was just energy. I didn't remember them ever specifically. Once again, it's been a while, but I thought it was just like kind of like, it's because Shinsu is basically like chi. Like, it's like Kai in Dragon Ball Z and just chi and like most like, maybe like something Chinese, you know, things of like, oh yeah, gathering your chi, centering your chi. It's basically that. It's energy. And you can shape it into like, and do many things with it. But he specifically referred to it as like the water that they breathe or something like that. Like I said, I don't know if that was like a translation thing or whatever, because it's kind of like the energy's everywhere and it's just about controlling it. But he specifically referred to it as water. Like he was using it like water, but he made the once again, it could have just been me being the idiot I am and misinterpreting him, but it sounded like he was kind of referring to it's always in a state of water to a certain extent. Because I guess it's like, right, because there is like, I mean, I guess it's like maybe he kind of pulls the moisture out of the air, and that is the Shinsu, but whatever the case may be. I love he makes like a giant wave and pushes everyone back. And I love the whole bit. I was like, wait, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. And it's like, right, Rock and me will probably have no trouble getting through. The question is Bomb. And he's like, wait, where's Bomb? And Bomb's like, excuse me. I didn't get pushed back. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to go back. And Leroy was like, no. It's fine. I guess you just, maybe it was a mistake. You got lucky. And somebody's like, wait, what? But Kun's like, nah, it wasn't luck. There was no mistake about that. We got pushed back and Bomb was right next to us. Him not getting pushed back means a lot. And I love that line from Leroy being like, looks like a monster's arrived. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what kind of quote-unquote monster Bomb is, dude. I'm like I said, I'm reliving all of it. I'm remembering just where things go. I'm like, dude, you have no idea. That's so dope, too. And I love Shibutsu and his rival. I'm blanking on her name, but I love his rival. And like Shibutsu can't get through it. Anak easily walks through it. I even love that being a bet between Leroy and Bomb about who'll get through first, and they both pick her, and he's like, oh, why'd you pick her? It's like, instinct. And it's like, because it's like, right, I win, you answer a question of mine. You win, I answer a question of yours. But it's like, right, we tie. But he's like, tying with a ranker, which is like, oh, man. Once again, the terminology, I'm like, right, rankers, people who made it to the top and who came to the top and got blessed by the king and everything. So it's like, right. Because there's only a handful of them. Like, they are like, they're not on the same level as irregulars, but they're hot shit, you know? Being a ranker means a lot. But getting back to it, my boy Shibitsu couldn't get through it, and then his rival, like, she's like, the woman that's kind of chosen obviously can go through, and then like she starts bleeding from her head, she's like, what? And then Shibitsu puts on the biggest, once again, why I talk about his animation, the biggest shit-eating grin. I'm like, yes. I love it. I was like, I love you. That's one of the reasons why I love Shibitsu so much. And especially like this rivalry he has with her, like that goes on for a while. I love it so much. I also love, once again, there's some characters I legitimately don't remember their names. Sleeping Bag Dude, he's actually super powerful. He's kind of a little bit like a Shikamaru. He's like, Shikamaru's like actually secretly tough in Naruto, but you don't know that. You just know that he's kind of a lazy bastard. So he's actually kind of a combination of almost like, you'd almost think like a combination of like Choji and Shikamaru. Like he's actually really powerful, especially, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but with Shinsu, I remember him being really powerful and really good at it. That's why like he was one of the first people to go through the barrier easily too. And I love he immediately goes to the other side and goes to sleep. Wow, Shibitsu and that lady are struggling so hard. You old fart, you old hag. I'm like, it takes me back. And when they finally get through and they're so excited, they're celebrating with each other, and he's just like, shut up. You know, I'm trying to sleep here. But Bomb gets his questions answered about irregulars. Well, are they bad? And he's like, no, they're not bad. They're just people who break the rules. Obviously, we learned a little bit more about the tower. There's the outer tower, which is the more residential area where most people live. The inner tower right now is where they are right now. It's where the regulars who are chosen climb the tower, and then like there was like the middle area that kind of connects everything, and it's like, oh, cool. He's like, wait, so people are born and raised in the tower? He's like, yeah, of course, silly. He's like, yeah, you're right. It's like, so am I and Rachel the only ones who come from another world? And now that's the thing I don't remember about the other irregulars. Once again, don't talk spoilers, just because in case anyone's coming across this review who's watching these things for the first time. But I don't know if they ever clarified that about the other irregulars, or whether their circumstances are the same as Rachel and Bomb, that are from like outside of the tower. I don't remember, because I think the irregulars are from within the tower. Like, I think that's what makes Bomb like extra special, because not only were you like Rachel was chosen from outside the tower, found her way in. You are outside the tower and found your way in. So it's even different. But I think most irregulars start. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember their circumstances are the same as Bomb. Because once again, I'm throwing this out there early. It's not really a spoiler, and it kind of is, but not really. I don't remember a lot of their names. I want to say there were two or three other irregulars. There's not a lot. And once again, they're monsters in their own right. That's why, like, Leroy says, like, the monsters arrive. That's the thing about the irregulars. Like, they break the rules of the tower, and most of them that end up coming to the tower end up being monsters. Like power level off the charts monsters type of thing. That type of thing. Not necessarily that they're evil, but it's just like they are just in a league of their own. Because once again, they just kind of break all the rules because them entering, it's a breaking of the rules, which kind of works perfectly for Kun being the rule breaker that he is. But eventually, like, he wanted him and Rock to wait to see how things played out. And that poor guy with the gun, Leroy had to make an example of him, and it's just like, yeah, it's like once you get to 430 and higher, this concentration of Shinsu, it happens all the time. You have to deal with it on a daily. So, yeah. You know, for him, it's like, I have to go back. He's like, I have nothing left. Like, this is kind of all I have. And, you know, having to go back empty-handed. Like, because climbing the tower means, you know, what you're doing it for riches, for power, for what? Everyone's got their different reasons for climbing the tower. Bomb's probably the only one that has the reason he's climbing is what he has, you know, so... But, you know, I even love that even Kun brought it up about, like, oh, is she your girlfriend? He was like, no, I actually belong to her. It's like, oh... Okay, so she's your rule. Once again, like, you know, following your own rule and not the tower's rule, so. But even Leroy's final message being like, oh yeah, don't get too close to Kun. It's like, right. Because they'll definitely talk about it next episode. I don't know how soon it comes up about Kun's circumstances. I think if I remember correctly, it's connected to his family status is what that's all about. I think it's related to that. But, yeah, other than that, I love the fact this Kun tried to bring the suitcase through and it kind of didn't, got stopped for a little bit. Very, very special circumstances around that. But, now that everyone's kind of passed that test, now it's on to the next test. I'm actually surprised, like, they literally threw up the title card for the third test, and it's like, and episode end. I'm like, oh, really? Because that's another thing. I'm so used to watching, most shows I watch are, like, 42 to, like, 57 minutes long, roughly. Like that's the length. I watch more like, and the reason why I say that is because most things are like an hour long. I watch, but you have to account for like commercial breaks, except for like things that don't have commercial break. But it's like in that range. I'm so used to watching shows of that length that watching something like 22 minutes still catches me off guard. I've seen some stuff here and there, but it's like I'm just so not used to the lengths, you know, of anime. You know, I'm like, oh wow, the episode's over already. Wow, that went by super fast. So. I'm so excited to get into this more, and to climb more and more up the tower, learn more about how everything inside the tower works, what the next test, the red door, is about. I feel like I remember it, but I have a very vague memory of it. But, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where all this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.